It is 2014, and I'm at an EdTech conference in Berlin, in Germany, and I'm riding a roller coaster. It's a virtual roller coaster. I am wearing a VR headset, but it's fun. It is great fun. And I think to myself, as an educator, I think, this is a gimmick. We spend so much time looking at our phones. Why would we ever want to put on a headset that quite literally blocks us from reality and the rest of the world? Why would we ever want to do that? And I think to myself, probably gaming. Definitely porn. But never education. And what strikes me about my reaction in 2014 is just how different I am from Mark Zuckerberg. To be honest, that's not the only time that I've noticed that there's a little bit of a difference between us, especially recently. But I said, gimmick, never education. Mark Zuckerberg bought the company. And in doing so, he made an announcement on Facebook, of course, and he said, imagine a future where we are in classrooms of students and teachers all over the world that we enter by putting on goggles in our homes. Let's fast forward, March 2018, and I'm taking a course in discovering your bias. I'm in a classroom, and there are 4 other students. There is my instructor, Dr. Chris Ancona, who is lecturing and presenting and guiding the discussions. And yes, Mark, I am in my own home. I have goggles, well, I have Gear VR. And there are students and the teacher from all over the world. Well, the students are from all over the UK and the instructors in France, but same thing. Not the future, this is the experience. But was I right? Or was Mark right in that? So let me tell you what it's like to study and be a student in this real-time social VR. There are problems. First off, motion sickness. To varying degrees, we experienced some of the motion sickness associated with VR. So some people experienced nausea. One person even had to drop out of the course. Other people experienced headaches and eye strain. Now, we did get used to it. The more we went into VR, the more we got used to it and the symptoms decreased. But it's a major issue. Another problem, technology has issues sometimes. So there was sometimes can you hear me? Can you hear me now? How about now? Again, did create some problems. Third, we had some, what I'll call, user errors. So we were using a Gear VR, which uses a smartphone. If you don't charge the phone before class, then you can't participate in the class. If you put your headphones on the wrong way round, then the sound isn't coming from the other avatar of the student, it's coming from over here instead. User error. So that was an issue as well. The avatars themselves, so the other students, they were single colour, there was very little body language, there was no facial expression, no eye contact. So, all of these mean that it wasn't quite the experience that I'd hoped for. However, there is something very special about virtual reality, which means that it is an incredible transforming experience for education. Now, let me tell you a story to give you an idea of what it's like in VR. So, I have climbed a very, very, very high construction tower in VR. Climbed all the way to the top, and then I was asked to step off. And I couldn't do it. I was terrified. So I really believed I was there. I really had a sense of presence. Another example of the feel of really being there is, on more than one occasion, I have been drinking coffee in real life and put down my coffee cup on the virtual table, only to have it fall, a bit of a mess, all over the floor. I believed it. I believed I was there. Now, when it comes to social VR, I believed I was in that space with the other students. So let me give you an example of that. One of the other students, David, was with me when we went into a breakout room. So it's just me and David within this space within virtual reality. And he says, let's try that presence out. Let's see if it really works with social VR. So he teleported his avatar over next to me. And it felt awkward. It was really uncomfortable. He teleported away. The fact that he could get inside my virtual space, he could get and invade my space within virtual reality, it's real. It really does feel real. So what that means for education is that you can have scenarios where the people in those scenarios believe it's happening. For example, people doing public speaking are able to practice with audiences in front of them in virtual reality. And they can have audiences that are listening, that are attentive, and they can have audiences that are bored, that are chatting, and because you believe it, that is a way of developing your skills. So to give another example, because you believe it, we can create scenarios, we can create learning spaces which are suitable for astronauts, construction workers, nurses, the military. Isn't it better to learn in the real situation when it's too dangerous and too difficult to create it? Then social VR can give that to us. But it's not just those scenarios which are difficult or dangerous to replicate. If you are learning to negotiate, where better to learn that than around a table in a conference room? If you're learning cross-cultural skills, where better to do that than in a situation where you've got students that really do come from those different cultures and you're interacting in a space. So the possibilities for social VR for education are clearly there, but that wasn't the biggest impact that I felt. In social VR, because you're there, because you are present, you're not distracted. How many times have you been in a situation where you cannot access your phone? Now, before we started here, we were asked to put our phones on silent, maybe switch them off, but in how many situations do we never look at our phones? Whether it's in a classroom, whether it's in a meeting, whether it's at the dinner table, they are always there. In VR, we are focused, we are not distracted. That means because we're so focused, because we're so present, the learning is deeper, it's more impactful. But it also gives you the feeling that you are being listened to. When the avatars, those single colour, very basic avatars, turned to listen to me, I knew I was being listened to. 100% they were paying attention. And that is incredibly powerful to feel that. So usually in education, in a lot of meetings, we are told to unplug, to switch off so that we can be truly present, so that we can learn, focus, pay attention. When it comes to social VR though, maybe the way to be present is to plug in and switch on. Thank you.